So you join me here today on the beautiful Shearwater Lake in Wiltshire. The CC Moore have given me the task of trying to catch a few fish on ZIGS. I will add, we are in the beginning of November and it's probably not the best time to go zig fishing. It's not gone quite according to plan yet. Got a bite. It's only gone and done the business for me. Scaly perler. So you join me here today on the beautiful Shearwater Lake in Wiltshire. We come down here today to do a little bit of zig fishing. CC Moore have got a few new products coming out early part of next year. We're going to run you through a few of those today. Yeah, and hopefully we can put 1 or 2 fish on the bank. With more and more fisheries around the country now banning plastic, zig fishing can become pretty difficult. As foam's pretty much a staple hook bait. This is where CC Moore step in and they've designed a purpose zig hook bait. It's an ultra buoyant NS1 pop-up. It comes in a multitude of colours, so you've got black, yellow and red, probably the sort of 3 most popular colours for zig fishing. And these can be used in many different ways. You can just hair rig them standard. They will fit inside the zig liner type products. You possibly want to use a slightly different tool, but we'll go through that later. And also the zig screws work absolutely perfect. They're hard enough, they're not going to break up, and they stay buoyant for absolutely ages. So you haven't got any worries of your zig bait sinking. Yeah, so these are perfect little products where plastic is banned. So these hook baits will be due for release early part of next year. So they'll be ready for the spring when zig fishing starts to get really good. And in the first 1,000 pots or so, there'll be a free packet of the pole position, screw-on zig liners. So get in quick to get your free packet of them. Also included in the pot is a sachet of the NS1 booster liquid, hook bait booster liquid. This can be added to the zig baits just to give them that little bit of a boost. But they're already flavoured as standard, so there's no need to panic. If anything, sometimes if you've got really deep water and you want high zigs, adding liquid's not like necessarily the best thing to do. But for those lower zigs, chuck a little bit of that on there and that'll be perfect. So the guys at CC Moore have given me the task of trying to catch a few fish on ZIGS. I will add, we are in the beginning of November and it's probably not the best time to go zig fishing, especially the style of zig fishing I'm going to be doing today. But I've come to a venue that's got good form for up in the water. I've spoke to a few of the match anglers and the matches have been won up in the water. So yeah, so we're going to give it a go. It's not gone quite according to plan yet, but we've only just started. I've got a couple of yellow zig hook baits out there to sort of match the corn that I'm feeding. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try a different colour. It's one of the things with zig fishing, you can vary your depth, you can vary your colour, and that's the beauty of these zig hook baits. We've got 3 different colours. I've got 2 yellows out at the moment. I'm going to reel one in and I'm going to chuck a red one out and see if that produces a bite. Because because of the nature of the venue we're at today, it pays to keep a little bit of bait trickling in. I don't like to just sit there and fill it in. So sort of every 20 minutes or so, I'll stick another 2 or 3 spods out, just to keep a bit of attraction falling through the water, hopefully bring fish into the swim from sort of nearby areas. There's a few fish starting to show now, so I'm hoping I can drag a few in. So yeah, let's get a couple more of these out and see what happens. Ooh, there we go, there we go. Not the biggest one in the world. So we've just had one. Managed to get the rods back out. I just unclipped the zig in the net. Got them both back out on the red colour that I've just had the fish on. And now I'm going to chuck a couple more spods out. I mean, this time of year it can be really small opportunities, so you've got to make the most of it. Get your rods back out, bit more bait, and fingers crossed for another one. Right, so the change in the colour of hook bait certainly paid off. This one only been out about 5 minutes. So I quickly reeled the other rod in and we got 2 red ones out there now, so fingers crossed. Not the biggest, but hopefully it's a start of things to come for this afternoon. So I've opted to fish one on a zigger liner today and one just standard hair rig. I'm just going to run you how I put them on my zigger liner. Normally the zigger liners come with a little tool like this. These are actually made 8 by 12 mil, which was like the optimum size to get the buoyancy we needed for these hook baits. If we made them any smaller, we'd be sort of going against it, and you could risk having a sinking zig hook bait. So what you find with these little tools is they're not quite wide enough to make it work. So what I do, and seems to work well, is I use one of these pellet bander tools. Loads of people do them, and what I do with that is I get my zigger liner like so, put that inside the band, open that up, just press, and that will give you some steady pressure, and that will actually accommodate the zig hook bait absolutely perfectly. And as you can see, there he is on a zigger liner. So this is my more conventional style zig rig, away from the zigger liners, and the reason I've tied up a few of these today is for this exact reason, is that you can sort of chop and change the colours. As you can see, I've got a sort of 2/3 of a black one there and then 1/3 of a yellow. And I've caught loads of fish on this colour combination in the past. So it's the only way you can do it is just with a conventional style zig. Knotless knot, little piece of silicone there just to trap it nice and tight to the hook. You don't want too much separation, and that will follow down your length. And then on the other end of that, I've just slid on a nice long anti-tangle sleeve, overhand figure of 8 loop, that clips onto your quick change system on your leg clip, slide that up over that, and that traps it in place. And having the extra long anti-tangle sleeve kicks it away in flight during the cast. Right, so we come to that time of year where there's absolutely loads of leaves on the floor, And the trouble is with these long zigs is you have to lay them on the floor to cast them. So a little tip to stop you picking up a leaf on the cast is either get your cameraman to watch or try this little one. Little bit of liquid on a bucket lid. That will just help it stick to the bucket lid enough to stop it dragging across and potentially hooking up on the edge. So bite indication wise for zig fishing, you just want to make sure that it's nice and tight, direct to the lead. Zig bites can be funny at the best of times, and classic bites when you're fishing these long zigs like we are today will just be a drop back. Basically the fish will pick up the hook bait, lift the lead ever so slightly, and it will come sort of flying back towards you, which one, it will help hook the fish, and two, it will give you that bite indication you need. So we've just managed our second fish. Again, a little change in colour, gone back to the yellows. So the first thing I did after getting the fish in the net was to unhook the zig from the lead clip setup. I've got another zig ready over there with my kit, clip that on, shut the rod straight back out on the spot, and get a couple more spods out, see if we can get another one. Right, so it didn't kick off quite as I'd hoped it had earlier after that first one. Yeah, but I've kept going through the motions, kept putting a bit of mix in, and I thought, you know what, I've put a fair bit of sweet corn now through the mix, so I thought I'm going to switch back to a yellow, because I was convinced that's what I was going to catch at the start of the day. Chucked it out, a couple more spods, and lo and behold, a couple of minutes later this one rattled off. Yeah, it's been tough going today, but another one on the bank. Got a couple of hours left. Let's hope we can nail a bigger one. Right, so I'm just going to run you through the spod mix that I'm using today. As I'm spodding over zigs, I like to start with the main base of it with some of the sweet nut cloud. It's an excellent base for spodding over zigs. It literally does what it says. It makes a big cloud in the water, which will draw the fish in, and it'll get them feeding in amongst. So I put a nice helping of that. Also like to add, it's not got loads of food content as well, so hopefully they pick out your zig hook bait in amongst that lot. Just to get a few food items in there, a little bit of hemp. Because we got some yellow hook baits, I'm going to put some of the old faithful golden grains. And because there is a lot of fish in here, and I do feel like they want a bit of food when they do come into the cloud, another new product that will be coming out early part of next year are the instant spod mixes. This is the live system one. Absolutely, like, it smells absolutely brilliant, and for this time of year it's going to be very good. It's going to complement the sweet nut cloud. And it's got a few more bits in there, lots of pellets and flaked maize. So I'm going to add a little bit of that, not loads, just a bit to bulk it out. And then just to finish that off, give it a mix. Give it a mix, and then I'll add a healthy dose of lake water. Give that another mix. What I will say is you don't want to go spodding this straight out, because the sweet nut cloud will sort of take in the water, so it'll go quite sort of stiff. So what I tend to do is I'll do this before I sort of get everything else set up, make my mix, and then I'll sort of like leave it to rest for say 10-15 minutes, while I get my rod set up, wrapped up and do whatever. And then what you'll find is you'll come back to a fairly sort of stiff mix. So I'll then add another bit of water until I get the consistency I want. Absolute vital bit of kit for when you're spodding over zigs is one of these bucket stands. Because you're really active and you're regularly spodding, the last thing you want to be doing is bending down all day, because it'll just do your back in. It'll make you not want to do it. So yeah, get yourselves one of these if you're coming spodding over zigs. So another product I've been putting through its paces today is this little bad boy. This is going to sit in the NS1 range. It's a new halo. We bought a yellow one out earlier in the year. You guys asked for pink and we're bringing you pink. So this is it. And how I've been using it today, simple really. I've been mainly just putting it on my Zig hook baits before I've been casting. As you saw earlier, I put a little bit of liquid on my bucket just to stop the zig sliding away. Again, that'll take on a bit. But equally, you can just douse a bit onto your hook baits, shake them up, let that draw in, and I've got a bite. Yeah, as we were talking about the pink halo, it's only gone and done the business for me. This one was doused up just before I chucked it out. Again, I've sort of upped the spodding a little bit now. It's definitely noticeable that my bites come pretty much straight after spodding. So rather than putting sort of 3 or 4 out every 20 minutes, I've cut that down to 10 minutes and just putting a couple out. Keep the noise, don't keep loads of food in there, keeps a cloud in there. And yeah. This is hopefully going to be number 3. So like I was saying while I was playing this one, I think spodding more regularly but lesser spods seems to be doing the trick. That's 2 in like the last sort of 10-15 minutes now, and again it's come straight after spodding. Yeah. So they're getting a little bit bigger. This one's probably sort of low double, first double of the day. Be nice to end on a bigger one. But yeah, let's get a couple more spods out and see if we can do just that. So before I was rudely interrupted by that bite, I was talking you through the new pink halo and how I use it in my zig fishing. There's a couple of ways really. One is just to put a little bit on just before you cast out. That'll give you that instant attraction, and that works perfectly on venues like this because you're getting bites fairly quickly after casting out. On the other hand, if your zigs are staying out there, or it's the kind of venue where you're not regularly spodding over the top, I suggest you sort of prep your hook baits up beforehand. And to do this, I'll squirt a little bit of the NS1 halo onto my hook baits, give it a shake, let that dry out. I'll repeat that process sort of 2 or 3 times, and then that way the zig hook bait can stay out in the water and it'll be leaking off attraction the whole time. So there's a few variables in zig fishing which you have to take into account. We've covered colour change, we've covered regularity of spodding. One other factor that you've got to take into consideration is the depth the fish are at, and that's quite an important one. If you're 3 or 4 foot away from them, you're probably not going to get bites. So changing depths is an absolute vital thing, and it can change throughout the day, you know. So the best way I've found of doing this is to like make your zigs really long. So I'll normally make, I haven't got many left now because I've been using them all day, but I'll normally make a load of these up pre-session, but I'll make them nice and long as I'm going to really think I'm going to need them, and then that way it's easier to cut them down to make them shorter than to go the other way round. Oh, this is a bigger one. Speedy one. Mad, isn't it? Like literally those bites were exactly the same time. Carp on one and a bream on the other. So I'm glad I picked up the carp first, to be honest. Nailed in the bottom lip. Wow, there we go. This is probably going to be our last one of the day. Light's going now. Yeah, it was a tough morning, but we chopped and changed with depths, colours, regularity of spodding, which I think was the key come the end, to be fair. I think keeping it going in, yeah, in shorter intervals with less bait was definitely the one. Like just before I cast this one out, I could actually feel fish as I was feeding the lead down, and that's the first time today. So I'm sure if it was light for a few more hours, we'd have a few more. But I'm happy to finish on this one. Certainly the biggest one of the day. It's probably up around 20 pounds to be fair. And it's a scaly perler. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the guys at Catch App for letting us come down to Shearwater today to do this filming. I know it's been tough going, I know we haven't caught loads, but trust me, if you come to this venue and use these tactics in the warmer months, you'll catch absolutely loads. If you want to give it a go, why not download the Catch App, search up Shearwater, book yourself on, come down, bucket spod mix, some of the new Zig hook baits, and catch yourself a load of carp.